Hey everybody, this is Trying to Live here, playing some Kerbal Space Program, sliding down a hill on this hunk of dust and ice known as the Min. It is it's like a really big green cocoa puff. Anyways, in this video right here, I'm going to show you how to land on the Min, hopefully better than this. Hopefully you'll have great success, have a lot of fun. This is a great challenge. I will say though, if you have not landed on the moon first, practice your moon landing, get that down before you try this. Otherwise, you might not even make it this far. Alright, let's get started. Alright, let's build our ship. We're going to use the standard command module. We're going to grab our parachute, put that on the top there. Oops, not wrong. That's the wrong one. There we go. Decoupler. We're going to grab our advanced SAS. We're going to go over here, and we're actually going to use RCS units to land. We don't actually need that much to land the ship with. Hopefully that's not going to end up being too tall. Alright, we're going to put 4 here. And 4 up here. That looks great. And we're going to use our lander legs. There we go. Lander legs on there. We're going to use 4. The reason why we're going to use 4 is it's very likely to break a landing leg off, which is sort of a bad thing. So we'll hope that this will be enough. There we go. That looks great. This is actually our lander right here. This piece right here, this is what's going to land. The reason why is the Min is so tiny, it has so little gravity, that these RCS units will be more than enough to actually get us to land and to take off and return home. So that will be pretty cool. We're going to actually add another engine. Whoops. All right, there we go. Another engine right here, and we're going to put a little lightweight thing on here. And this is what this is going to do, is this is going to give us a little extra fuel for in-space navigation if we need to do some turning, accelerate. It's hard to hit the Min, and so it's going to give us a little bit of ability to kind of chase it down and do different things like that. Just some extra flexibility and options. And since this is so small, we have that ability to do that. Alright, we're going to grab another decoupler, and we're actually going to set up our rocket. And it's going to be sort of a 2-stage launch. We're going to have some solid booster rockets, and we're going to have some liquid booster rockets. So we're going to get 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's going to be a 4-stack. We're going to use the vectoring engine, and then we can make this a little smaller just because our lander's a bit lighter, a little smaller, and so we're actually going to go ahead and get our external stack. We actually need 8 and not. Oh, let's put it nice. There we go. 8. Let's give us lots of boost, and this will be our second stage. We're having actually a solid stage before this, but we're gonna get this one set up first. Interesting fact about the Min. Or Minmus, whatever you want to call it. We call it the Min. It's actually, even though it's tiny and has a tiny amount of gravity, if it were a real object with that amount of gravity for the size of the thing, it would be about as heavy as depleted uranium. Oh, those are all twisted, but that's okay. Usually I like to get them straight. That's what this is going to do. These fuel lines here is these tanks will drain before this tank here drains, which is it helps with a little bit of delta V. It's not a lot, but sometimes all you need is just a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and, oops, you know what I forgot to do? Forgot the tire stacks altogether. That's important. I'm starting to get to the next stage. Didn't get our next. There we go. All right. Go ahead and do this here. And we're going to actually use, where's our solid rocket? They've got added so much, it's getting hard to find the stuff. If you notice, there's also live updated shadows, which is really cool looking. Actually, even this has a shadow, it looks like. Yeah. Even the parts flying around have shadows. Alright, we'll get that. Alright, whoops. that right? All right. Got to make sure those don't touch because if they touch, then they'll get too hot together. They'll kind of amplify their heat. We'll go ahead and put one down here. And let's see here. This. And we'll go ahead and tie this stack together. All right, this looks good. One minor change is we're going to go ahead and actually we'll move this one. Move this here so that all these decouple, these outer stacks here will all bounce out and all the little pieces will get knocked out at the same time. This is the center stack and we'll move it up so that it fires all together. And other than that, there's no real setup and we can go ahead and launch this thing. All right, let's get this thing launched. T for SAS. We're going to throttle this critter up. The ship's going to spin around and things like that, and that's the reason why is the SAS doesn't have the full control that it needs to push the ship around. Not a big deal. It's going to keep it going good. This is just rockets to help us get going, sped up quickly, so we don't waste a lot of fuel and time. It's going to get us started up in the air. Get rid of those, launch off. Everything's going to be much better. We're going to slow down a little bit, but we're already 2,000 meters in the air. We're already traveling at faster than full speed. It's going to keep us going, and it's going to be a little bit. We're going to go ahead and when we get up there, we're going to. My ship's wobbling like crazy. It's spinning and correcting. We're going to go ahead and let the ship go. We're actually going to do a burn towards 90 degrees. Just to save fuel. We can go towards 270, but in this case, I think that 90 degrees is going to be the better option. Stop spinning, please. Just stop it. Stop it. But anyways, this is a good time to. The ship travels pretty slow until it starts getting way up there. So this is a good time to take a break, get some Earl Grey tea, step away from your computer, come back, and go land on the Min. So we're gonna catch this up in orbit, and we'll be right back. All right, our apoapsis is way higher than we need it to be, so we're gonna do our turn here. This is not a very efficient turn. I will let you know. If you're one of those people who looks after efficiency, this is not the way to turn a ship. You should kind of angle it as you go. But we're gonna go towards 90. Being exact isn't totally necessary, just because there's the moon, there's the mun. The mun is, or the moon, the Min is not on the same orbital plane as us. We'll have to actually correct that. But we got more important things to do. We got to get ourselves into orbit. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm actually going to wait until we get a little closer to apoapsis to start burning again. We're going to get our orbit out there. And when we do that, then we'll come right back and well, we'll do the next step. All right, we've got our orbit. Looks good. We're actually almost out of fuel, and so in these outer tanks. And so what we're going to do is I'm actually going to continue on. We're going to accelerate, draw these out, and then while we're still accelerating, this just keeps us clear. I've lost a few ships to. Hey, stop spinning. I've lost a few ships to the debris as it flies off. Just be turning or whatever. So it's important to make sure you don't make that mistake. But right now we've got an issue in that our orbital plane is pretty good when you look at the Mun, or the moon, however you properly pronounce it. However, we're not set with Minmus. All right, you can see here that's about 6 degrees. So the easiest way to do that is we're actually going to change our visual cue. We're going to change that to Kerbin. There's this odd thing in the game where you can't actually switch it back. You're always focusing on Kerbin, but that's okay. So we focus on Kerbin. Let me go ahead and zoom out, and we're actually going to use the moon as a helper, and we're going to look until the Minmus is we're totally flat with Minmus, and we're totally flat with the moon. That looks great, and this is going to give our angle. And so I look here and I can see, okay, right at this point right here, we're actually almost there. I need to burn, let's see here. This is going up, so we're going to need to burn northernly. All right, so I'm going to turn my SAS off and tell my ship to turn. Turn, ship, turn. Because we're actually just past the point where we needed to do that. I'm actually going to give it a little bit of fuel. Oh, why are we not turning right? Oh, I switched my view to the debris. We don't want that. All right, let's go to let's go to the tracking center. I don't want the debris. I want this thing. All right, try again. I was like, why are we just flying off into space there? Oh man. All right. So press M. Probably way past the point now. Let's do this again. All right. Both of those line up. We're a little bit past that point. That's okay. We should still be good. Turn our SAS off. Forgive us a little bit of fuel, which is going to help us turn. Um, it's going to make our apoapsis move and be out farther, but that's okay. And we're just going to go ahead and lock our ship northernly. Whoa. All right, come on. I'm going to give it more power just so it spins back faster. There we go. Come on, ship. The ship is kind of longish, which makes it really bad for this stuff. All right, so we're going to zoom out. Make sure we are flat with the min, which is not always easy. All right, and we're going to continue to burn up and northernly. We're going to go ahead and speed that up until, hey, bring your line back, until that line just disappears on your enemy, and you're like, no, get back, until this line, our orbital line, and this orbital line match. And when that happens, we're on the same plane. We're getting close. Let's see here. They look good. It's pretty close. It's not quite right. That's why we needed to burn here. It's not always easy to tell. That looks okay. We can actually fix this. But we're just fixing orbital plane. The best time to do it is when at the intersection between the two. So you can see right here is where we want to do that. All right, so we're getting close to that. We probably would have done a lot better if we hadn't selected that debris earlier. And since let's see here, let's zoom out. Come on, Minmus, where's your little line there? And since we want to go down where the place we're heading, we need to go down. We're gonna burn at 180. So we're actually gonna go lock and accelerate. And that's actually just gonna help us to get a little more oriented. That should be pretty. It's not. I'm not happy with this. Where this looks. All right, but is this even halfway close? All right, flat on ish. That's close enough. All right, that'll make me happy enough. We'll correct later on. It's not the most efficient thing to correct later on, but we will. All right. At this point, this is kind of the more difficult aspect of the game, doing this transfer burn, just because there's no good point. So this might be a good time to actually press F5 and do a quick save. So once you get your orbital plane set up, as poor as it is on mine, do what I say, not actually what I did. Does that make... I feel like a parent. But anyways, the best, after quick saving, the best way to do a burn towards the min, make that circular, is when it's about 65 degrees from your location. So basically, this here, if you consider this at like 0, and this here is 90 degrees, 180 obviously, and you cut from 90 to 0 is 45, is 65 degrees, which is about right around here is where we're going to meet up at. So when I zoom in, I'm going to say, okay, where I actually need to do my burning is over here somewhere, right? So we're going to go ahead and warp up. excuse me, and come around here. And we're gonna need to time this out pretty good because we got a big space. A few feet here is gonna be, or a few meters here is gonna be a large amount of meters out there. So we're gonna try to get this. Thankfully, they gave the men a good sphere of influence, but it's it's not it's still not an easy target. If you guys haven't noticed before yet, I didn't mention this in my previous video talking about version 15, but they changed this whole system here. It looks really cool. Um, and basically what it is they actually will track out like when you will meet, and so if we actually are gonna miss the men, it'll actually tell us before we even travel out there, which is kind of cool. All right, so we're getting close. I'm actually going to go ahead and uh, rotate the ship toward. All right, so now we are in the uh, the SOI, the sphere of influence of the men. We're right here. We're a long ways away from home, and you would think that the men would look huge in your vision. No, it's still tiny. And if you look over here, let's see if we can find it. It's not always easy to find because it's a long ways away. There we go. Here is the moon, and here's Kerbin. So even though we are significantly farther away from it, they are tiny comparably. So, anyways, and our sphere and our orbit is pretty straight, even though we're not traveling very fast. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we are going to go ahead and do a retro burn. And this is going to seem really weird because you're like, I don't understand what's going on. As long as you're on this blue line right here, which is Minmus, you'll say Minmus Parapsis, Minmus Escape, you're in the sphere influence. We'll do a retro burn, and you're going to burn off a ton of speed, and it's not going to make much sense. And you're like, I don't get this. And the reason why is the gravity is so low because it is so tiny that it's going to take you almost to standing still to be in orbit around it. There we go. There's an orbit coming up. We're in orbit, and finally we're actually coming down, and we're actually going to do a little bit like that. And the reason why is there's a better landing spot over here for us, kind of scouted out ahead of time. And so in order to deorbit, we have to go as slow as 6 meters per second. And so we're going to go ahead and start heading toward that little blue puff of, I don't know, unobtainium, whatever it's made out of. One thing we have to point out on this is our ship is pretty underpowered. The gravity is low. We're not going to be traveling very fast, but it's important to note that we don't have much power to deal with. You can see what we hope is our landing site ahead, which is this light area here, because this area right here is very flat. And so we hope to land in one of these flat areas just because you can see how hilly this is, and you basically you would just regret everything. You'd be like, I regret everything for landing on those. Um, and so what you just don't want to be on them. It's a bad deal. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and hopefully kind of watch our ship and see where we're gonna land. I can see we're gonna land on the edge there. We're gonna try to use kind of our orbit to figure out where we're gonna go. When we get over a place that I like a little better, we'll go ahead and do a retro burn, kind of make sure that we fall straight down. That looks pretty good. Oops, slow down. So we'll go over here, retro burn, and that's just going to get rid of some of our sideways momentum. Also, it's going to keep us from falling. It's kind of sort of a safety burn, if you would. Get rid of our sideways momentum. We got plenty of fuel, so we can go ahead and do this. But remember, you can see how slow we're losing speed. That's just really because it's underpowered. You can go with a heavier engine, and that's fine. You will have more than enough. I just chose to do something lighter because I tried just to this design I kind of kept lighter, if you would. It's also important to know that this is not like the end all men landing video. There we go. And as we pass that, that means we're going to be falling pretty much straight down. Now, this is not the end all men video. This is just kind of like I want to get this out 24 hours after version 15 comes out. That's my goal. Of course, there's going to be some render time to do this in 1080p. Watch this in 1080p, by the way, as well as upload time for, this video is probably going to be, I don't know, it'll definitely be over 5 GB, and they usually take me all night to upload them. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. It's just the fact that I want to be able to teach you guys how kind of the basics, that 6 degrees, that how to time, your 65 degrees, how to get here, a decent lander, kind of some of the ideas behind landing safely, um, what you need to look for, things like that. I will also note that there are monoliths, those black pillars, on the Min. And so that's pretty cool on Minmus. There's some of those. I haven't found any yet. I've not really looked for them. I usually do a lot more tutorial stuff and trying to figure out the mechanics of the game. And I don't explore as much as some people might, which is okay. I mean, it's not like I'm saying it's bad. I just spend more time doing that just because I want to help you guys be able to play the game because I think it's great. Usually about science, lots of fun. And we're actually going to be doing some cool sciencey videos in the future. I have been reading a lot of math stuff. Oh my gosh. Math and I do not get along together, and so when I do math, it's not a good day. All right, we'll continue to burn down. We're going pretty fast. Not pretty fast, but we got to watch out for our engines because our engines aren't very powerful. Pretty low here. You can see the terrain colors kind of shift just because it's loading in higher resolution images. We're going to go ahead and we're going to lose about half of our speed. Just for safety. We'll be a little patient, lose some of our speed. Obviously, we don't be floating in air forever, so we're not going to go super crazy. And that's about half. So we'll keep it going down. Looks good. We're actually getting pretty close. You can also tell we're getting close because it'll switch from orbit to surface. And you'll start seeing some cracks between the textures, things like that. You can also see how small this is. Here's the curvature of the rock. Like this is a flat area because it used to be water, is the idea behind it. All right, so we'll go get rid of some more speed. Everything looks pretty good here. Nice fun little world. This is crazy. This is pretty cratered. If you look at, like, you see some of this stuff. If you land on up here, you're just gonna slide and slide and slide. It's just so rough. All right, keep it coming down. No shadows yet, so you can't really tell without using like a mod or something like that how high you are up from the ground, which is kind of unfortunate. This will tell you how high you are from the lowest point on the planet, essentially, which may actually be this. This may be the lowest point. But then again, there may be lower. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of burning. I'm not quite sure how high this is. I've only landed a few times on the Minmus. I'm going to get better stuff out on this. I really want to get really cool stuff because I think this is going to be a huge stepping stone because after this comes out, there's going to be planets, and planets are going to be harder to get to. And so this is sort of like a stepping stone because planets are going to be, you have to change sphere of influences so many more times than just like a moon landing. There's so much more to a interplanetary thing because you're orbiting, you're moving from something that's orbiting something. You're moving between two things that are orbiting something else, not just moving to something that's orbiting where you're at. That makes sense. All right. I'm coming down. We're gonna be patient with this. We're not actually gonna land with this rocket. We're actually gonna use these feet to land with. Whoop, lost too much speed. That's okay though. And we're just gonna do this because this at full blast actually isn't very strong. We kind of went light. We kind of went skimp, right, on parts, but it's all right. So, in retrospect, maybe we should design this with a few more RCS here, but that's okay. All right, so we're gonna start coming down. Looks like we're getting close. I don't see a shadow yet, so you can't tell how close you are. Uh, but we're not going down. I mean, we're not burning towards the surface very quickly. All right, everything looks good. The big thing to remember is to turn off this engine before you disconnect it. All right, do we see a shadow? Yes, we do. All right. So turn RCS on. Whoops. X. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect, and we're gonna burn up. Get away from this, and we're just gonna turn these on. All right. So it's not terribly powerful. Whoa. But it's enough to keep you out of trouble. You're not going to be able to, do lots of retro burns. But the reason why that's important to do this, you can see, like, this part bounced up in the air, and you don't want to bounce up in the air. Look at it. It's because the gravity's so low. But anyways, there's our landing. Whew. This may take you a few attempts, all right, just because the gravity is so weird. You can use a moon lander on it. However, there is weird situations where you can actually bounce. Like you saw this thing bounce off the ground. And so you can find yourself hitting and being like, okay, that was a 5 meter per second landing, no big deal. And then you just start bouncing back up, and you rip legs off and all sorts of crazy stuff like that. So that's the landing part, all right? The return part is just the same way as a moon, right? You take off, you do an orbit, or excuse me, an escape trajectory, and we'll return. So let's go ahead and prepare to do that in 1 second. I'm going to take some screen caps, and after that, we'll go ahead and return home. All right, so while taking screen caps, I accidentally ripped a leg off. So it's time to go. So we're just burning straight up here, and we're gonna keep going on up here. And let's see here. Let's look at this. Continuing up, and we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna for brevity's sake, I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video here and continue burning upwards until we get into escape, and we'll join up when there's an escape trajectory. All right, we're at about 250 meters per second, about 280 at the surface, 290, 300 meters per second at the surface. To do our escape. Here's our escape. Gonna head home. We used about a tank, a little bit more than a tank to get ourselves home. Continuing to speed up, get out of here, get away from the sphere of influence of. That's interesting. Apparently, we're going to escape and then be recaptured. That's weird. But anyways, we're going to get ourselves away. We used up quite a bit of RCS fuel, about a tank and a half to get away from the moon, but it's going to take us a little less than that to return home because we're actually burning off speed right now. The gravity's kind of pulling us back, and so it's not going to take terribly much. We just need to get out of the sphere of influence of, if I keep saying the moon or the mun or whatever, it's the Minmus. Which is weird because the mun is actually pronounced moon as far as I understand because it's got umlauts. Anyways, but this is also actually a moon because it's a natural satellite. Anyways, we'll continue to get out of here. Let's see here, 20. Let's see here. All right, so we'll keep moving out of here. Check out and say thank you for not being our new home. And it looks like we're actually going to do pretty good for. It's very strange. They changed the system a couple times in the past, and so it's always easy to figure out what's going on. All right, it looks like we'll have a Kerbin orbit and not a lunar orbit. All right, so here we go. We're in a Kerbin orbit, and so in order to, whoops, turn the RCS off. We don't need that. Do that. We're actually going to retro burn. I'll actually do a proper retro burn. Actually point the right way. Whoa, 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 whoa. Lock it in place, and turn RCS on, and retro burn. And you can see here we don't have to get rid of that much speed. We're heading at 200 some odd meters per second, and we'll go ahead and deorbit and that'll take us home, and things will be pretty good. So here's an example of a way that you guys can land on the Minmus. I don't even know where it's at anymore. Where are you at, Minmus? Is that it right there? That's not. That's a star. I think it's so. Is that it? No, that's the moon. That's awful. Where are you at, Minmus? There it is. All right. It's not quite that small yet. Okay. But how to land on it? There's going to be lots of variations on this. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, you can just have fun with it. Always have fun. Crash to the surface. Do it again. I just wanted to get you guys a quick tutorial on the different things that you guys can do. Oh, look at that. We can actually go land on the moon. Sound good? I don't want to land on the moon. I don't want to land on the moon. Actually, let's do it. We're not actually going to land on the moon. We're actually going to use it to sling us into Earth, into Kerbin. This is just extra fun. This is new stuff from 15, and so it's actually going to fling us, hopefully fling us home. Let's see what it does. Timing is everything. Oh, not quite. Did we just speed up? Surely we did not speed up. I didn't really do anything. I was hoping it would fling us home, but anyways. Um, so anyways, hey, thank you guys for watching. Good luck in your endeavors. And as always, you guys are awesome. No, subscribe. No. Yeah, whatever.